You're gonna laugh at me.
This is awkward.
I want to say auto and then psi.
Autopsy?
Autopsy.
Autopsy.
Now I'm thinking of that episode of Bob's Burgers when Tina's like the elephant and they're singing Autopsy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Hey everyone. Today's episode we're talking about Nanny Das, aka the Giggling Granny, and the sad story of Sadamichi Hirasawa. As always, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a follow, or if you're feeling really fancy, a rating. Alright, on to the episode. Enjoy. Okay, so who do you have?
Nanny Das, aka the Giggling Granny, but she also has several other nicknames.
Oh. Why is she the Giggling Granny? Is she like, every time she kills someone, she just like jumps up, clicks her heels, and starts giggling?
Never came up in my research, so I don't really know. Maybe just because she was a fun time.
That seems to be like the first question that you should try and answer.
Okay, but here are all of her nicknames.
Okay.
The Giggly Granny, the Giggling Granny, the Giggling Nanny, the Jolly Black Widow, or just the Black Widow, the Lonely Hearts Killer, Lady Bluebeard.
What?
Lady Bluebeard.
I don't know if I like that one. Does she have a beard?
I only saw like one picture of her and she did not in that picture, but this is back in the day. You know, she probably had some chin scragglers coming out.
Okay.
People like to refer to her as a self-made widow.
That's fair if she's killing people.
Specifically husbands.
Yeah.
And other people along the way.
Okay.
I think the Giggling Granny was the best one. But also no. The Giggling Nanny, because her name is Nanny. How did that one not stick a little better?
Right. I don't know. People suck?
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. Those are all for nicknames that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Okay. So we want some background information.
If you want.
Nancy Hazel.
Hazel.
That's her birth name. Was born November 4th. Birthday coming up soon. She's dead. 1905. She'd be pretty old if she was still alive.
Yeah.
She was born in Blue Mountain, Alabama.
Wow.
That just sounds like a place to go to.
For some reason, I just expected this to not be in the U.S. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Sometimes people.
I just expected this to be like a Russian lady for some reason. I don't know.
No, that was that other lady.
I know that was the other lady, but there's like scary ladies.
Grandmas are the same.
Okay.
Russians.
Whatever.
So she's born in Blue Mountain, Alabama. Okay. Her mother was Lou Hazel and her father was James Hazel. They had a total of 5 kids. I don't know why people were always doing that, but whatever.
There was nothing else to do.
No, I think they had a farm. They had to, you know. Who's going to work the farm?
Mm-hmm.
They had 4 girls and 1 boy. I'm not sure of the birth order. I think Nanny was one of the older children. Possibly the oldest. Possibly not. I don't think I ever figured that out.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. They were probably all like a year apart. It was 1905.
Probably just kept shooting.
They're all
out.
about the same.
Yeah.
So Nanny and her mom hated her father, James. This is also kind of why I believe that she must have been the oldest because of how they describe. They're always like Nanny and her mom. Like, so maybe she's the oldest. She's got, you know, she's raising the other kids with her mom. I don't know. But apparently James, he's very controlling, as all men in the early 1900s probably were.
Take it easy.
I can get worse. So sometimes he wouldn't let the kids go to school and would say, you got to miss school. You got to work on the farm. Who needs an education? Farm work needs done.
Exactly.
As a result, Nanny had very poor academic performance in school. She was not a smart one.
You hate to see that happen.
Wow. I mean, I think kids graduated by the time they were like 10 back then.
Sure.
Why not?
Basic arithmetic. Maybe
How to read like 4 words.
Yeah.
You just got to know how to sign your name. I don't know. What other kinds of schooling was there?
I don't know.
The world's flat.
Something like that.
I don't know. I don't know how old that belief is.
I don't really know.
Probably way older than that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then a few special people in today's world.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So when Nanny is 7 years old, she took the family train to visit other, like, Whoa, the family train. No.
The family train.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
They're suddenly like
I'm
railroad
just seeing
barons.
words on my notes and families coming up and
Okay.
trains coming up, and I'm not reading in order for some reason.
Whoa. Trains. Family.
Let me just restart. When she's 7, the whole family rode a train together to visit their like extended family in southern Alabama.
All right. So it wasn't just a 7-year-old seeing the world. Just...
I'm sure that kind of shit did happen, though, because in the 70s, maybe a bit in the 80s, my grandparents just put my mom and my aunt on a plane and sent them to Germany all the time. They're like, you're fine. You'll find your Oma.
Just ask people for directions. People are nice.
It was a more uneducated, innocent world back then.
I guess. You're attacking all these people right now for being uneducated just because...
In this scenario, my grandparents.
Okay, I don't know your grandparents, so I'm not going to say anything.
My grandma would laugh today about it. Be like, I don't understand the problem. Like, I don't know why none of you kids can't handle going on the plane alone either.
Fair enough.
Anyways, my mom hates traveling now. I don't know if it's related, whatever.
Oh, it probably is.
Okay. So at one point on this train ride, the train just comes to a sudden stop. And so there's like a metal bar on the seat in front of Nanny. And boom, she smacks her head off of it. So, head trauma, sign of early in life. Psychopath, they're correlated somehow. Anyways, she had a lot of headaches. She would just black out sometimes. And she suffered from depression. They all assumed that it was related to how hard she smacked her head off this bar.
Probably.
Later on in life, she would blame this incident on her mental instability that she suffered from over the years. Probably like, here's a little rat poison for you. A little bit for you.
Little tinkle sprinkle.
Find a funnier person, I swear.
It's not going to happen. Whoa. Hydration.
And when I thought I was going to spell.
Oh.
That would be bad.
If you spell that, it's going to go right into my computer.
That's
and
why
everything
I said,
dies.
That's why I said, whoa. We'll just scoot it closer to my laptop.
Okay.
Okay. So another fun fact, her mom, it's the early 1900s. Her mom had these romance magazines.
Romance? Is it just like filled with like really cheap romance short stories?
That's what I imagine, because I'm sure this is before like Cosmo and that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Probably had stories about like, never mind.
There's an episode of that 70s show where like Red steals one of Kitty's romance novels, and that's what I'm imagining, but in a little magazine.
I don't know that one. I've seen the show, but I just don't know that episode.
That's just shameful.
Okay, let's move on.
But okay. So Nanny, she would just borrow them, and she really enjoyed reading those romance magazines.
Who doesn't?
Young girl growing up, you had to dream of the romance. When I say young girl, before 16, because that's when she first got married. So just for clarification.
They grow up fast.
Well, yeah. So she would just daydream of her romantic future, or so she says. Which, I mean, a lot of girls probably do.
That's what started all this, though. I have a feeling she's got like a skewed vision of what romance looks like.
Well, what do you think I'm leaning up to? A happy ending?
I've had enough of your crap.
It's only going to get worse. Her favorite part of the magazine was the Lonely Hearts column.
Oh.
I don't fully know what that means, but I'm imagining. Hi, I'm Alice. I'm 32.
Exactly.
I'm looking for a nice farm boy. I'll cook you a mean meal. I'll have 7 kids for you, but I'm past my prime because I'm 32 and the 1915.
I've got
I don't know.
8 years left in me.
Yeah, we can knock out 7 kids real quick.
Then you can find some younger
I'm sure
lady
I'm
to raise my
100%
kids.
wrong about that, but
Probably.
I'm pretty close, I think.
I think you're just being mean to people born in a different time than you now.
No comment. Don't care. Can't come up with anything better than I don't care.
Okay.
All right.
Shocker.
So now back to James, her controlling father, who has 4 daughters. None of the daughters were allowed to wear makeup or attractive clothing. Can't speak.
Closing.
Anyways, he just figured that they would all get molested by men if they wore makeup and attractive clothing. Therefore, no, because
No.
you can't get molested. So you can't go to school dances. You can't go to social events. You stay home. You wear ugly clothes. You look ugly.
Yeah, that doesn't
Problem solved.
It doesn't raise psychopaths or anything.
Well, I have so many thoughts. I didn't write them down this time. We could go on for ages. All right, let's skip forward. Nanny is 16 years old. She meets Charlie Braggs.
What a name.
That's what I was thinking. They were both working together at the linen factory.
Linen factory.
Now, no. Get this. They date for 4 months. Then they get married. Remind you of anyone?
Hey, I think we know someone like that.
3 months. I'm going to hear wedding bells. Give or take a day or two.
It's gonna be
Anyways,
hiding
now
in a
I'm sure it will
McNugget.
happen on like Christmas or something. It'll be one of those kinds of guys. All right. So Charlie gets her father's approval. And he's like, yeah, get rid of her. Marry her. Take her off my hands. Why not?
It's not a
You
boy.
got a
I
farm?
don't care about her.
Yeah. No, I'm just speculating. I don't know what was said back then. Anyways, Charlie was the only, well, typos. There's a couple coming up.
I can
I thought
see
I did
them
better this time.
staring down the barrel of those red squiggles.
Whatever. So, Charlie's the only child of a single mother. And she and the mother, she's like, I'm going to keep living with you after you get married. You're not moving out. You're not leaving. She'll come live with us.
Okay.
So now I have a quote from Nanny in regards. Oh, I see why there's at least one typo. It's because Nanny was an idiot. And I put it in quotations. I have a quote from her
Okay.
that's about her mother-in-law. I married, as my father wished, in 1921 to a boy I only knowed, that was a typo, about 4 or 5 months, who had no family, only a mother who was unwed and who had taken over my life completely when we were married. She never seen anything wrong with what she done, but she would take spells. She would not let my own mother stay the night. So I don't think they were friends. And this is why you keep your kids in school a little bit longer.
Listen, there's an evolution to everything. People learn their lesson, times change.
I'm not sure Nanny ever learned her lesson. Anyways.
Okay.
So Charlie's mother, she took up a lot of his time and attention even after they got married. She limited Nanny's activities. But don't worry, they had time to have 4 daughters together between 1923 to 1927. So 1 a year.
Wow.
That's what I'm
No recovery time.
taking, unless there was like twins or something in here. I don't know. I don't think so. But
Yeah.
So, after you have like 4 kids in 4 years, I'm sure it was likely that any mother would become stressed out like Nanny did. So what do? You start drinking, you start smoking, and suddenly that turns into an addiction. That's a problem.
Says who?
Well, this is the article I read. Nanny and Charlie both thought each other, like, that they were cheating on each other. And he's like, he's cheating on me. I just know it. And he's like, she's cheating on me. I just know it. And it turns out they were both right about each other. They were both indeed cheating on each other.
Wow. What a pair.
Right? I mean, if this isn't true love, like, what was she expecting from all those romance magazines?
Yeah. Well, she has to do something about it now.
Well,
I just
she
want her
does.
to kill him.
Kind of, sort of. Charlie doesn't die.
What?
In 1927. Don't worry, there's like 5 more husbands on the way.
I'm so disappointed right now.
How could he kill Charlie Braggs? So, it's 1927. The 2 middle daughters suddenly die of what appears to be food poisoning. Charlie's freaked out. He takes the oldest daughter, Melvina?
Velveeta?
Melvina. I don't know, I'm guessing. That's what it looks like.
What the fuck kind of name is that?
It was like 1923 when they had
It's
her.
like
I'm
they
sure
had,
that
like-
was like naming a girl. Like,
They had like Melvin
Katie.
lined up, and then it popped
Yeah,
out
they
as
were
a girl, and they were like, "Well, fuck it, Melvina.
Now, when you add an A onto something, that's kind of how I got my middle name.
Oh? What's your middle name?
It's Alana, but my dad's name is
Oh.
Alan, Alan.
Oh.
And they're like, well, let's just throw an A on the end of that, and you got Alana, and it's a girl's name.
Call it a day.
Let's just be glad they didn't give me that as my first name.
Yeah.
Because my great Nan wanted a Katie.
Good old Nan.
Yep.
Okay.
I barely knew her. She died right after I was born, I think. She got her dying wish. Anyways. Okay. So Charlie takes the oldest daughter. She's probably about 4, maybe approaching 5. Leaves Nanny with their newborn, Florine. I never found the other 2 dead girls' names.
They don't matter. They're dead.
Well, that's what these people thought who wrote these articles. They didn't care. I don't know. I did look a little bit and then I gave up. I was like, I probably will stop caring. Anyways, so he takes the daughter. He leaves. He just wasn't convinced about Nanny's explanation about how these 2 children died of food poisoning. He speculated she was involved in their death.
Maybe 4 was just too many to take care of, and she was like,
she
straws.
was stressed out. Yeah, she was like, well, I've spent the most time with the oldest one, so I love her the most. The baby's pretty cute. We'll keep that sucker. The middle kids are always the most annoying. Middle children out there. You know.
You suck.
What you gonna do? Try being the youngest. It works for me. Then, right after that happens, his mother dies shortly after. I don't know. I couldn't find really like anything on her death. So it could have been like a natural cause of death. Maybe like a heart attack or something. She could have been old. Maybe Nanny slipped her a little rat poison. I don't think they ever assumed she was involved in her mother-in-law dying, even though she clearly didn't like her mother-in-law. I don't know. So, Nanny's not divorced, but she's separated from her man. She's got this baby to support. She gets a job in the cotton mill. I feel like that's what everyone did in the 1920s.
Yeah, I mean, that's just natural progression. You're either cutting meat or working with, like, fabric of some sort.
Yeah. Well, she had that experience from the linen factory. I'm sure it's almost the same.
She was a shoo-in.
Right? So Charlie comes back the next year, 1928, over the summer with his oldest daughter and a divorced woman who also has a child. He found a new lady. So then he was like, Nanny, we're getting divorced for real now. So they get a divorce. Nanny takes both of her daughters now and they go live with her mom. I don't know what the deal. I don't think her dad's really ever mentioned again. Maybe he's died by this point. I feel like people probably died by like 40. Maybe they lived a bit longer. Or he's just out of the picture. I don't know. He's never really spoken of. Whatever.
Well, okay.
And Charlie had only, like, he claimed whenever he was filing for divorce, whatever, that he was just frightened of Nanny. That she was crazy.
Yeah.
He was probably onto something in this case.
He seemed like a rational person, maybe.
One could suspect.
Yeah.
When your 2 children mysteriously die of food poisoning.
Yeah.
Don't know. But don't worry. 1 year later, 1929, Nanny meets Robert Franklin Harrelson. She married him that same year.
Good for her.
People meant business back then.
There's really no point in wasting time.
Well,
you know if it's a good thing or not. Just go after it.
I mean, let's see. I guess she'd be in her, mid-20s? She's running out of childbearing days. No, I think she's done with the kids at this point, so.
Good for her.
So now they're living in Jacksonville, Alabama. They have, again, her 2 living children with them. So within just a few months of marriage, Nanny realizes that Robert's an alcoholic and he had a criminal record of assault. Don't worry, they stayed together for 16 years.
Oh, well,
She's able to, like, overlook that.
Yeah. Everyone has their
love.
faults, you know?
Okay. Fast forward. The year's 1943.
Whoa.
Melvina has her own baby now. Robert Lee Haynes.
Okay.
2 years later, pops out another sucker. And it dies very soon after its birth.
Rough.
Melvina. Okay, so she was drugged up a bit. Because they had drugs for labor.
Right.
You know? It was a surprise to me. But she thought she saw Nanny stick like a pin into the baby's head. But she was so exhausted from labor and drugged up that she really didn't know what she saw. Because imagine watching your mother stick a pin in your newborn baby's head. That doesn't seem likely.
She was just like, it's like when people check to see if a cake is done. They stick a toothpick into it and see if it sticks.
I assume that it was a more intense kind of pin. I think in the 40s, a safety pin was pretty dangerous. It wasn't really a safety pin. I don't know.
True, yeah.
So she gets her husband and her little sister, little Florine. And they're like, did you see Nanny, like, holding a pin? Did anyone see that?
Did anyone else see this?
Like, what happened? And all they knew was that Nanny said the baby died. But they did say, we think she was holding a pin.
Just walks into the room, hold it. He did.
I mean, now I'm just also trying to imagine being the doctor and you find a baby and you're like, it's dead. Are there little pinholes all through its head or what? Like,
yeah, but I'm pretty sure like doctors at that point were barely doctors.
You're probably not wrong.
They basically knew like some anatomy.
As much information that I have about the doctors, they just couldn't give a positive explanation as to why the baby died.
I don't know. But I'm pretty sure anyone that was listening to this has probably stopped from all the laughter over a dead baby.
No, it gets good again.
Okay.
So. Melvina and her husband, they drift apart. They just lost a baby. It's the 40s. You move on. So she starts dating a nice soldier boy.
Okay.
Nanny did not approve.
It's rough. You hate to see that happen.
Well, it's hard for parents to accept their children's partners, I guess. I don't know. So Melvina gets all pissed off. She's like, I'm going to go see Dad then. She got in a fight with her mom. But she's like, well, I'll leave Robert, her surviving child, it's a couple years old, with Nanny. I'm going to Dad's alone.
That'll be fine.
So Robert mysteriously dies while with Nanny on July 7th, 1945.
Ooh. So this is the fourth kid that is mysteriously died.
Yes.
When she's around.
I mean, her two children, they ruled out food poisoning.
Right. But
could it have been rat poisoning?
For sure.
Right. They probably, I don't know, weren't ready for that back then. You don't know how to investigate. Don't know. So Nanny had filed life insurance for her grandson, Robert, before he died. She collected a whopping $500, which I'm sure is a lot of money back then.
Probably, yeah.
I should have tried to compare what that is to today's money, but we just know it's a lot.
Sure.
So. Now it's 1945. Japan surrendered. The war's coming to an end. Nanny's husband, Robert Harrelson, don't forget about him. He's like, it's time to party and celebrate. The war's over. I'm an alcoholic. I am looking for any reason to party and celebrate.
Yeah.
So he's drinking away. He's wasted. He decides, I'm going to go rape my wife now. So the next day, Nanny finds his corn whiskey jar, tops it off with some rat poison. Robert Harrelson's dead.
Huh.
So don't rape your wife. I am sure any reasonable wife would murder their husbands.
I can't say anything.
Right. Okay. So now we're up to husband number 3 because she moves on pretty quickly. Arlie Lanning.
Wait, what?
His name. Arlie Lanning.
Arlie Lanning.
People back in the day knew how to name people, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They meant, get this, through a Lonely Hearts column.
Oh.
I guess, I don't know. Maybe both of them. They were traveling through Lexington, North Carolina. They meet. Lonely Hearts column. Married 3 days later.
I mean, she probably thought with it being from the Lonely Hearts column and her fascination with it before, she's like, this is definitely the one.
Arlie's got to be my soulmate.
Something like that.
She quickly learns that he's also an alcoholic womanizer.
Shocker.
So, in this marriage, it must not have been good. Nanny would just go and disappear, sometimes for months at a time.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably, I guess now, she's got to be at least 40. Mm-hmm. She's independent. Her kids are grown. What's she got to do? But when she was at home, she knew how to play the role of housewife pretty well. So Arlie dies. It appears to be heart failure. They all
when?
Huh? When?
Yeah, when?
I don't have an exact year. The next husband comes along by 1952. So this is sometime between 1945 and 52. I think she was probably briefly married to this guy, though.
Probably.
I'm sure he didn't last that long.
She was like, nah, I've seen this before. Just get rid of him.
Yeah.
That's good.
Although, they must have been together for some length of time if she had enough time to disappear for months at a time.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Maybe they lasted a couple years if she didn't get married until 52 again. We're getting there.
Okay.
So they have a funeral. The whole town, they give their support to Nanny. They're like, this poor grieving housewife. No one suspects a thing. Arlie, he left his house to his sister. Maybe it was already set up that way. Maybe he didn't think to factor his new wife in. Mm-hmm. So the house happens to burn down.
Oh.
And the insurance money went to Nanny.
This lady.
Somehow, probably because they're like, oh, it's Arlie Lanning's house. We'll just give it to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
No one's looking in to see that it belongs to his sister now. She quickly puts all that money right in the bank.
Wow.
Then Arlie Lanning's mother dies in her sleep shortly after the house burns down. And this is still in North Carolina. Nanny's like, I better leave North Carolina. I'm going to go to my sister's house. Her sister's name, get this, is Dovey.
Okay.
It's very possible this whole story is a lie based on all of these people's names. Dovey, I don't know. She goes to visit her sister Dovey. Her sister is bedridden. I assume she's sick of something. Shortly after Nanny gets there, Dovey just dies.
Oh.
Is this getting suspicious or what?
She's on a roll.
She sure is. She cannot be stopped. It's all because she hit that bar on the train. So now, I guess Nanny's back in North Carolina, Jamestown. She joined a dating service called the Diamond Circle Club. Now she has met Richard L. Morton. They married in 1952. It looks like they moved to Kansas. Don't know. She's getting all over. She's getting around now. This was nice. He didn't have a drinking problem.
Okay.
He did like to sleep with other women, though.
Who doesn't?
Well, Nanny's looking for the love of her life,
That's fair.
Okay, so now this, I guess we'll just get straight to it. That we know that she poisoned her mother, Lou Hazel.
Okay.
By the next year, Lou had to come live with them. I don't know what was going on with her. But Nanny's like, here's some poison. You're dead.
Do you think she said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to know her pretty well from this research. 3 months later, she poisons. But I think we're on her fourth husband now, Richard. Yeah. So he's dead.
Okay.
I have an exact date on this one, May 19th, 1953. People are getting better at keeping track of.
So he didn't last long. He lasted a year.
No. Yeah.
Roughly.
Maybe. Yeah. So don't worry. 6 months. No. If he's dead on May, sorry. A month later, she meets Samuel Doss and they get married. Husband number 5. He's a minister.
Oh, boy.
Now never mind. I'm not going to word it how I was just about to.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, here's something fun. It's not. His whole family had died in a tornado accident in Arkansas. So, he's probably lonely.
Probably.
He meets Nanny and she's like, yeah, I've had like 3 husbands die. I've lost some grandchildren. I've lost some children. I've lost my sister. I've lost, the list goes on and on and on.
Right.
They fall in love. Now, Nanny, she's still a fan of those romance novels. Mm-hmm. Samuel does not approve.
Quit reading that smut.
Right? It's probably like, here's the Bible. Read this. She's like, where's the romance in here? Anyways. Okay, so now it's September. Samuel gets admitted to the hospital with flu-like symptoms. Don't worry, this wasn't Nanny. He just had flu-like symptoms.
Okay.
The hospital found he had some like digestive tract infection. They treat it. He's released a week later or so. He's back home. It's now October 12th. Shortly after he's been home. He's dead. Nanny had killed him that evening after she had taken 2 life insurance policies out on him. She's getting smarter.
She's like, if I keep doing this, I need more payment.
Well, but the doctor who was treating him gets a little concerned. It's like, he was doing fine when I released him, and then he suddenly dies. I want to do an audit. Wait, whoa. Brain fart. I should have practiced this word. I can't say it. I just can't. My brain's not working now.
What word?
You're gonna laugh at me.
This is awkward.
I want to say auto and then psi.
Autopsy?
Autopsy.
Autopsy.
Now I'm thinking of that episode of Bob's Burgers when Tina's like the elephant and they're singing autopsy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So the autopsy.
Mm-hmm.
They find a lot of arsenic in his system.
Oof.
Nanny gets arrested.
Oh no.
So Nanny, she confesses. These are who she confesses to. 4 husbands. Samuel Doss, that was husband number 5, who she just poisoned.
Uh-huh.
Richard Morton, previous guy. Arlie Lanning, before him. Robert Harrelson, second husband. Charlie Braggs, he survived all of this. She wasn't ready to kill then. You know, she was only 16.
Fair. You got to grow into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also, I feel bad because I just shit on old-timey doctors, and this guy cracked the case.
He sure did.
He was like, something fishy. I'm not that bad of a doctor. Something's going on.
Well, he at least cracked Samuel's case.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
None of the other ones were really investigated.
Oh.
But she was charged with Samuel Doss's death. She, though, willingly, I guess, confessed. She's like, yep, killed the other husbands, not Charlie. I killed my mother. I killed my sister. She admitted to killing the older grandson she had, Robert Lee Haynes.
Oh, but not the newborn.
Not the newborn. She admitted to killing her mother-in-law. That one was Arlie Lanning's mother.
Okay.
He was a third husband. And then it's likely and speculated, but she never confessed, that she killed her middle 2 children. She killed her second-born grandson in the hospital, you know, pin in the head. But as far as I know, she never confessed to those ones. Some articles said she was guilty of all of those. But again, her trial had nothing to do with any other death besides Samuel Doss. So.
Okay.
So at the time, her and Samuel, I guess at the time of his death, they were living in Oklahoma. And since the doctor was able to prove he had arsenic in his system, that was the only thing they could prove, really. So the trial was only about him.
Mm-hmm.
So she just was like, yeah, I'm guilty. 1955. Receives life imprisonment. The state, they're getting really progressive. They're like, we're not going to give her the death penalty. She's a woman.
Whoa. Well, okay, that's not progressive. That's just sexist. They're just like, she's a woman. She can't do anything.
She just killed like a handful of people, but so she never is charged with the other deaths.
Interesting.
They assume the motive is just all the insurance money.
Mm-hmm.
But get this, she says she was just always searching for the real romance of life.
That's bullshit. She got addicted to the money and the thrill of the kill.
I don't know. She said the money never played a significant role. She just figured, well, why not?
Maybe that's just the brain damage.
She said she suffered from marital boredom. She wanted to find the ideal husband, the kind that were described in her favorite romance novels.
Yeah, see? Unhealthy.
Here's a quote. That's about it. I was searching for the perfect mate, the real romance of my life. She never got it. Maybe because she kept killing them.
Probably.
Who knows?
I don't know.
And then she got leukemia and died in the hospital in Oklahoma State.
And now she's dead.
1965. She probably had a good life.
I love that really hard ending. It's like...
That is literally how it ends for me. I have nothing else.
That's fine.
It could have been the death penalty.
I mean, I think that's a fine way to end yours. You know, it's just like she's caught and she did.
So anyways, I got really inspired after this one.
Oh? What do you mean?
I'm just going to find a man. 3 days later, we'll probably be married. He'll probably piss me off 2 days later. I'll be like, rat poison? Okay.
I think they can figure that out a lot easier these days.
No.
Pretty sure you're not going to have the run like
well,
she
I'll probably need those 2 days before I kill him to file the life insurance policy. Nothing about that will be suspicious.
Exactly.
That's all I got then.
Okay. So mine, it's about a fella named, I apologize, it's a Japanese name, Sadamichi Hirawasa.
Sure.
Hirasawa. Hirasawa, yes. Sadamichi Hirasawa.
Okay.
Or you can just call this as the Teigin case. It's Teigin. I don't know. I'm going to call it...
I couldn't read half the words on my page today. I'm not sure I can help you.
I'm going to call it the Teigin case. Whatever.
Sounds great.
But, so our Mr. Hirasawa was born on February 18th, 1892. And he lived a pretty uneventful life until this event occurs called the Teigin case. He was a tempera painter. So January 26, 1948, a man entered a branch of the Imperial Bank in Shinamachi, that's in a suburb in Tokyo. In the area, there was a recent outbreak of dysentery, and he was posing as a public health official sent by the U.S. occupation authorities, and he was like, I have medicine. It's supposed to clear everything up. Here's some pills and like some droplets of liquid. Everyone, all the employees here are supposed to take it. They actually do. There were 16 employees. All of them were incapacitated moments after being administered the medicine. And he was like, I'm going to take all the money that's lying on the desks, which amounted to like 160,000 yen, which is only about, well, back then it was about $2,000 USD. So it was a decent amount of money. But he didn't bother to take anything from the bank itself, only what was like available and visible. So it's not like he stuck around. 10 of the 16 people died at the scene of the crime, and 2 others died after they were hospitalized while recovering. At the time, the liquid was thought to be the biggest agent of killing people. They thought it was nitrile cyanide, which was a synthetic assassination tool developed in a laboratory in Japan. Now, the arrest is a little interesting because it was like... you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Will I?
Okay, maybe. So, in Japan at the time, everyone had a habit of exchanging business cards. And all these business cards would have your personal information on. They were just like, we trust everyone, basically. So, there were 2 other bank thefts before this one that pretty much had the same MO. It was like a lone male went in, poisoned everyone, and had left a business card, like as his first interaction with a teller. And in the first incident that, you know, this whole thing covers, there's a business card left with the name Jiro Yamaguchi. Again, I don't know if that's right or not.
Sounds fun.
But that turned out to be just a completely fake alias. And the next robbery had the name Shigeru Matsui, which actually was from the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Department of Disease Prevention. So he actually got these cards, and that's
Mhm.
what he tried to use as his alibi, basically. Like, that was his story, because he had 2 of these
Okay.
cards. So he went on to the third incident, which is the one that we're talking about.
Mhm.
Okay, so the police find this business card. They find out that Mr. Matsui is actually a real person, so they find him. And while he had a real alibi that checked out, he did end up working with the police. And he said, I've handed out 953 business cards. 100 of them match the description of what you have given me. And I have, let's see, I have 8 of these left in my possession. So what he did is he like marked the back of the cards before he handed them out to people. That way those 8 the police wouldn't find and they could eliminate those suspects. The police went around and they went to all these businesses, they collected all these cards,
Mhm.
and they found let's see, hold on. This is like the interesting part of it. So they found 62 cards of this guy's cards that were handed out, and the owners were cleared of any suspicion. 22 more they found that they completely ruled out, that was being completely irrelevant. They found Hirasawa was in possession of one of these cards, or supposed to be.
Okay.
Whenever he was questioned, he couldn't produce the card that they were asking him to. So, like, he didn't have it in his possession. He said that he got mugged recently, lost his wallet, lost all of his business cards. So that's one strike against him. He had a similar amount of money in the bank, but wouldn't tell them where he got it. He was an artist at the time, and a theory came out later that he was doing, like, pornographic images.
Sure.
And that would,
you gotta make money somehow.
That would tarnish his reputation as an artist.
Oh, okay.
I
probably would have given him support unless it was like real freaky.
I don't know.
The world will probably never know.
He had an alibi, but it was very weak. Several witnesses, other employees from the 3 bank robberies, would actually identify him, but only 2 of them were survivors. Like, they would ask these people when they were still sick. And then he actually confessed of having involvement in 4 previous cases of bank fraud. So that's, again, like just another incident attached to a bank, mark against him. So they locked him up. The police tortured him, and he confessed to it. But then shortly after, he took it back, being like, they tortured me and they got this out of me.
That's what they all say.
But actually in Japan, up until 1949, you only needed to have a confession to be assigned the death penalty.
That sounds right.
Even if you were tortured. So that's all they needed. But over the next couple of years, he went through like a series of attorneys. They tried getting his sentence revoked. Over a total of 18 pleas for retrial. All of them were denied. But because there was so little evidence, let's see. There was a total of 40 employees that witnessed the crimes, but only 2 of them could identify him as a poisoner. You would think that eyewitnesses would be a little stronger. I don't know. Like, if
I'm pretty sure
2 out of 40,
nowadays
it's not very
they usually
strong.
say that method's flawed, especially if
Exactly.
that's the numbers you got. But
yeah,
what do I know?
So just like overall, there was a lot of like research done on him. There were books, there were films made about him, being like, hey, this guy's locked up for no reason. You're going off of like finding a guy that just couldn't. Basically, the thing that was the nail in the coffin was he couldn't give him the business card.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, well, he got it, and then he gave it away whenever he robbed the place. So that was like the nail in the coffin for him. The evidence was so shaky, he never actually got the death penalty. Sorry. He had the death penalty like signed to him,
Mm-hmm.
but the death warrant was never signed, even through multiple ministers of justice as they got signed in. They were like, I don't fully believe this. So they never actually signed the death warrant. So he's just sitting in prison. The sad part is he continued to paint. And actually, I looked up some of his paintings, and they're pretty good. He didn't see success with any of his stuff until after he died, like a lot of artists.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
But he sat in prison for 32 years. He wrote an autobiography called My Will, the Teikoku Bank Case. I don't know. There was like multiple names for this province. He chose Teikuko instead of Teigin.
I would have no idea.
Okay. So, there was a new lawyer that took over his case in 1981 named Makoto Endo. He took part in a lot of other controversial trials. And the first thing that he did is he was like, this dude's been in jail for 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
Statute of limitations for death penalty in Japan was 30 years. He's like, my client should be out.
Interesting.
The sad part is the court actually said the quote unquote punishment never started because the death warrant was never signed. So because these guys had mercy and like wouldn't sign the death warrant, he probably would have been dead by the time 30 years rolled around anyway.
Sure.
But because they never did that, like the clock never started running, he was never sentenced.
There's always a loophole.
So,
well, they're probably usually bad, I guess. But
I mean, the loophole was that he just died. So
wow.
His health deteriorated, and he died of pneumonia in a prison hospital May 10th, 1987. There's a lot of theories that with the way the poison was, the original one was like it was a form of cyanide that they assumed that he had used. But the effects that it has on people didn't match up with what happened at the scene. And there was a lot of chemical warfare being developed at this time in Japan.
Sure.
So they think it was someone from one of these groups that had access to like military grade chemicals
Suspicious.
and poisons. But that's basically all there was. Like this guy just lost his whole life just because of a business card.
So do you think he was guilty?
No. I don't think he was.
That's depressing.
I told you it was depressing.
Yeah. Well, we had a funny one. Maybe it's not funny. Maybe I'm just really screwed up. I don't know.
I mean, I thought it was funny.
A sad one. Well, if I'm a psychopath, you're probably also a psychopath.
I mean, I just like the fucked up shit.
That's what I'm saying.
I was really excited for this one.
Yeah, I remember.
I think it's a fun story, but once I like read through the stuff, I'm like, that's just upsetting.
I feel like mine was just an inspiration to women all around the world.
Whatever. That's a little creepy.
You just gotta be smarter to not get caught.
Okay. I don't like you like this.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
I've been getting really out there with my thoughts. I'm not going to say on this the things that I was saying to Ryan last night because they're unethical for sure. And he was like, no, you're literally crazy.
Okay.
He probably is not used to someone being crazier than him.
Mm.
So I was like, but what if? Didn't convince him.
Okay.
But it did end in me saying my name. And I approve this message.
I like that. That's how you have to do it.
I said, as president, I will do these unethical behaviors because it will solve the world. Well, actually, that was a problem because I could only, president, you only have control of the country.
Yeah.
So I really have to become a dictator.
Of the entire world.
Now, see how we're getting a little far-fetched already? And I couldn't sell them.
It's fine. You're just ambitious.
Sure.
Okay.
It's fine. I'm just going to keep doing my regular job until I retire.
That's
have a
fine.
peaceful little life. Maybe I'll retire into the forest. Never be bothered by people. Or on the beach with Ryan, and he'll be really old and he'll go to the nudist beach and I'll just be reading my books and
I don't know.
This is so gross.
I don't know what to say right now.
It seems like a good time to end it.
Yep. See ya.
Okay.